So Toby, from the musician's point of view, how do you navigate a long run like that? I can't remember with the staging of Wicked, although God knows I've seen it enough times. Are you actually in the pit, or are you sometimes, just to explain to people, sometimes if shows are very complicated, they don't nowadays put orchestras in the orchestra pit. They're sometimes in a box somewhere else, and it's all mic'd. Yep. But where were you for Wicked? Are you in the pit?
They are. It's a 17-piece band, and you're in the orchestra pit. Everyone is in there, which is really nice, because, as you say, sometimes, increasingly so, with sound engineers, they want to isolate every single instrument so they can have utter control over the sound. I've done shows where you're in a porter cabin at the back of the theatre, and it can be very odd.
If you move your head, Toby, you can just show people your Matilda poster, because you did Matilda, and you weren't in a pit at all for Matilda.
No, it was bizarre. We were under the stage, and then each section of the band, it was only about a 9-piece band, and we were all isolated off. And inside the box, the brass were then inside another box. So it was like playing inside a large phone box. And, certain nights, after a large curry between shows, it was, not always ideal performing standards. Anyway, what my point is, to go back to your original question, I think it's very different for a musician to that of a performer. I am married to a performer, and I don't know. I'm in awe of the job that the people on stage do, like Kerry, because some days you do feel duff, and some days you do feel you've got no energy, or you might have been working, especially as a musician. You might have been working during the day. You might be tired. You might have been spending the whole day teaching, and you are expected, unlike Kerry, where she enjoys it being different and changing on a nightly basis, and that actually gives her energy. Very often, as a musician, your requirement is to make it exactly the same every night. That is the demand, and that is the demand that's placed on you by the MD, the conductor, and it has to. If you put some extra spin on a phrase, or you play a bit loudly, or you are told by the I don't like that, cut that out. Some MDs are like that, not all, but your requirement is to make it exactly the same, in order for the people on stage to be able to have the freedom to perhaps, they need that rock so that they know exactly what's happening rhythmically and musically. I mean, it can change on a nightly basis. I mean, you get some conductors that take things at a really fast speed suddenly, or slow, and the actors and people will say, "Oh my God, that was a nightmare tonight. It was why is it taking so long? It was exhausting." And then you get some people that take things at breakneck speed, and it's a nightmare for them. But
I think next week Harriet Thorpe, she did MAME, and she said that if there was a little bit of sort of a row going on, the MD would take some of the dances a bit faster, and they would like, oh my gosh,
absolutely. Yeah,
I mean, as an next stage manager, of course, I like it to be absolutely identical, because then I feel I know exactly what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, and I feel very confident. And so it is that balance, I think, to say to the students, between the creativity that you were talking about, Kerry, and yet that rock solid core of your technique, of your professionalism, of knowing that you've got to tell the story that starts there and finishes there, and so
in order, just to answer your question, I've waffled on and not actually answered your question. To deal with a long run, because musicians, unlike the cast who, as Kerry said, move on, they might do 12 months, and then they've got their career is beholden to the shows that are available to them for sometimes a relatively short period of time. Especially if you are primarily a dancer, you have a window for your career that you're not going to be doing it when you're 50, 60. Well, there are, but it's very rare. So you're beholden to the productions that come, so they need to move on to another production to further their career. But a musician, obviously, we don't have to be there 8 shows a week. We are able to put in a deputy to do a show when we go and do something else. So we don't have that 8 shows a week mentality, which obviously helps when you go and do the show. You're not stale and you're not bored of it, and hopefully it's still you're playing an instrument that hopefully you love, and just the physical act of playing your instrument enables you to do it right, and respect for yourself and the people around you gives you the energy to try and make it right night after night. That's the difference, really. It's your own, it's the opinion of your colleagues and the people around you that spur you on to do it night after night. And for a musician, a long-running show it's a godsend, because it's such a fun, especially as so many areas of work are getting smaller. A nightly gig, a show, is a phenomenal privilege and a great thing to have. So it's not difficult to motivate yourself when you realize how many people would be desperate to do it if you weren't there.